And a reminder, the news doesn't end here. Coming up at 7, streaming on WCNC+. North Carolina lawmakers passing a bill to speed up the death penalty process while they take a look at crime prevention in the Queen City.
We're going to go through the entire budget for the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County to see where these funds are going.
Why some say Arena's law is justice and others argue it doesn't do enough.
After a tragic killing on Charlotte's light rail, lawmakers pass a bill aimed at cracking down on violent crime. Coming up, what's in Arena's law and why it's sparking debate before heading to the governor's desk.
We're live here in Boone this morning as we continue to mark 1 year since Hurricane Helene. This morning, a look at the recovery process in Avery County. Also, we're going to connect the dots on what made Helene so devastating.
We're here in Blowing Rock taking a look at some artists who've been affected by Helene. 1 year later, what they're doing and why.
And when powerful storms hit, students can fall behind fast.
How educators prepare for the worst to make sure your kids stay ahead. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up on WCNC+.
All right, we have an active start to the morning, but remember this out in Davidson, I-77 southbound right before exit 30. There is an accident and it's blocking a lane and backing up traffic towards Langtree Road. So make sure you're very careful of that stop and go traffic, I-77 south.
All right, top to the bottom, 91 degrees and then boo, down through the 70s. So enjoy the last true summer day and likely the last 90-degree day of 2025. We'll, of course, have a lot more on WCNC+. See you over there.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus at 7. I'm Autumn Bracey.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This week, we continue our coverage marking 1 year since Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina. Our Ben Thompson is live this morning. He is up in Boone. Ben, I know it's great. They're probably a bit chilly now, but what's the vibe like in Boone this morning?
Yeah, Lisa, we're about 15 minutes away from sunrise, and if I'm being selfish, it can't come soon enough because as Chris alludes to, it is the coldest part of the morning right before the sun comes up, and I can attest to it right now. But we are live here in Boone all week long as we continue to mark the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene and how these communities up in the mountains are bouncing back in a lot of cases, but still need a lot of help. Coming up in just about 90 seconds, Richard Evade is going to join me live. He's in Blowing Rock this morning, and he's got a look at how some artisans and craftsmen, how they are making their own comeback. Lisa?
A lot of small businesses there, a lot of entrepreneurs who certainly need the help of tourists, and we look forward to hearing Richard's report. Right now, though, we need to take a live look at roads in the Queen City. I believe this is I-85. Majestic will let me know if that's indeed the case. She's going to have a check on your morning commute. First, though, we are expecting another hot September day. Chris has the WCNC weather impact forecast, and you say we could get close to 90, and this might be the last time for 2025.
I think we do it. Yesterday, we hit 89.1. And for this September 24th, Ben, by the way, we'll get you some sunshine soon. It's 7:13 official sunrise time. It's a gorgeous look off yonder, though. We are dealing with just some of those upper level clouds off in the distance. It's 68 degrees right now around Charlotte, so that's one of the warmest starts that we've had so far this week. 57 degrees in Boone, very similar to where we were yesterday, but it is definitely on the chillier side of things. But now I want to get right to, I think, the main part of our forecast. Now, yes, we're going to have a chance for thunderstorms and chance for rain for the first time in 17 days. But believe it or not, that's not our biggest story. I don't think that we're going to have direct impacts from these storm systems, but it's going to be close enough. So let me talk about Invest 93L and Invest 94L. I think soon these are going to become Tropical Storm Umberto and Tropical Storm Imelda. Now, even a chance of turning into a hurricane. But what's going to happen is 93, which, by the way, has winds at 35 miles per hour. That's only 4 off once it gets to defined center, becoming a tropical storm. And then we have this wave, 30 mile per hour winds. They're going to head in this general direction. We have a consensus that one wave kind of moves over and through Turks and Caicos, past the Bahamas, and starts to turn up directly towards the Carolinas. But this other system might be our saving grace. Now, Bermuda, if you have a trip to Bermuda, this is not a good forecast. I'm going to show you why. Because what's going to happen, and this kind of convolutes the forecast, these two systems kind of merge their paths. And it's all because of the rain system and the upper level low that's going to give us rain chances Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, I don't think it's super widespread at first, but this upper level low, I think, could crank in some additional moisture heading into your Saturday, but that front is going to stall off the shoreline. Meanwhile, we have Storm 1 and Storm 2, or Umberto and then soon to be Imelda. Now, Imelda looks like it's trying to move on shore on Monday here in the Carolinas. That's still going to be rough surf. Beaches likely closed, and even some gusty winds. And it all depends on how much it's going to strengthen. It's going to battle some wind shear at first, and then conditions become a little bit more favorable. But I think this system starts to pull out Imelda before it moves on shore. So it is almost our saving grace. This is technically called the Fujiwara effect because the way that they rotate is in a counterclockwise rotation. So sometimes they can kind of get caught up in their own magnetic field per se, their own wind field, which can drag and steer the other one out. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's at least the most recent look. Now, if they disconnect from each other, we are talking about bigger impacts here in the Carolinas, but for right now, things are trending in a better direction. It's still in the near term. We have a low risk for flooding for your Friday. We're going to keep this shading around for your Saturday. Same thing around for your Sunday as well. And those temperatures are definitely going to be on the cooler side. As far as our severe weather risks go, we actually do have a low risk for a strong thunderstorm or two during your Thursday afternoon. But coming up here on Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast, you can see that we do have that weather alert day because we do have that thunderstorm potential. I'm going to show you the little bit more detailed forecast, but I wanted to show you the big picture. What exactly is going on? And the one thing we know for sure, yes, rain chances can come up, but for sure, we are dealing with some much cooler temperatures and nowhere near 90 degrees by the weekend and beyond. Hopefully we're dealing with a decent ride so far. Majestic, what is happening?
Good
Morning, everyone. Well, it's a busy start to the day, of course. Now that it's 7:05, people are awake and heading out the door. This is I-85 here. You can see traffic continues to move nice and smooth for the most part, but those drive times, they're getting backed up about 47 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia and around half an hour if you're coming in from Belmont. We've been watching for pockets of fog this morning, and we're still seeing that in parts of our viewing area, especially northwest of Charlotte up towards Hickory. Less than a mile of visibility, so slow it on down as you're heading out the door. As we're looking at my map, we have our typical delays, I-77, I-85, parts of 485, especially out towards Matthews. But I do want to let you know we're following this. It's a newer accident. It's on I-77 southbound right before exit 30 in Davidson. An accident is blocking a lane and it's backing up traffic toward Langtree Road. So again, I-77 southbound is going to be a little more backed up this morning, not only because we typically have a lot of people coming inbound this way, but now because of this accident. 321 to get onto Highway 85 is also going to be jam-packed because of some construction that's currently ongoing, in addition to our typical delays on I-85 as well. So a lot going on. We'll highlight a few other things I'm looking at coming up in just a few minutes.
See you soon. Thank you, Majestic. Well, this week we continue to share stories of recovery nearly 1 year after Hurricane Helene.
Ben Thompson joining us again live from Boone this morning. And Ben, what's it been like seeing what this area looks like 1 year after that devastating storm?
Well, you know, Lisa, the unfortunate thing is last year, because the time that this storm hit, they completely missed out on their fall season, which really is the biggest season up here in the mountains. And so they're hoping in the next few weeks that this is really going to pick up again. Because again, I mean, I personally like all the seasons up here in the mountains, but fall is the real moneymaker. And for a lot of these businesses and for communities, the recovery is far from complete. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Vane, he's live just a few miles down the street from me in Blowing Rock. And Richard, you've been talking to local artists and craftsmen and how they're managing to bounce back as well.
Yeah, Ben, good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Good morning to Autumn and Lisa down in Charlotte. Just basically what you said, a lot of folks are still struggling 1 year later, but there are signs of recovery. And of course, folks out there, you can help by coming back up to the mountains and shopping, spending that money. Look, some of the items you could get if you actually come out right here to the Coal Miner's Daughters Mercantile Store. This is a great location. And this artist right here that we're well, first of all, John, you're the owner right here. And basically, you and your assistant today?
Yes, this is Crystal.
Crystal. How you doing, Crystal? She's been here all morning. You were here a day after the storm hit. Tell us about what you saw.
I came to check on the store the day after, just to make sure there was any problems or anything. We luckily were good. And then I had some merchandise in a store in Boone. So I drove from here to Boone, and, you know, going past Tweetsy and that area, there was some mudslides where the mud came out into the road and everything. And then down towards App State, you know, the mall, which always floods anyway, was flooded. And then further out, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
And we're looking at some of the items sold here locally. That particular artist that we were looking at a little bit ago with the woodworks, you could actually tell he got that from where you said?
That wood is reclaimed from Helene. Yes.
Reclaimed woods. And you were telling us about basically, Crystal, you were telling us about how bad it is, and you see we're still dealing with a lot of the damage, right?
Oh yeah. There's a place right down the road, Waterfall Road, and it was just devastating. An entire road was wiped out, and the people that, you know, back there, they've lived there forever. You know, they're you know, kind of just sitting on the porch. You know, when we drove down in there, just kind of, you know, numb, I guess.
And a lot of folks still to this day, a year later, how's it looking?
Still cleaning up and trying to rebuild. Yeah.
And John, just the fact that you have so many artists here, a lot of them affected by that storm, how does it make you feel to be able to have them come here and have a place to sell from?
I like having them here. I think it helps them as well. They're able to get their products out, and, you know, they probably had a little extra time to work on it and stuff.
And then over in Newland, actually, we spoke with the owner of Pack Rats. It's a store that serves military surplus store. It has a lot of items in it. And we spoke to Julie Venerable, who actually owns it. She says that it's been tough. A lot of folks have had to deal with what has Helene left. It actually put that whole town of Newland underwater, devastated a lot of businesses. Some of them haven't returned. A lot of people lost their homes. There's a trailer park right behind where they are, and they actually, a lot of folks who were there, it was washed away. They still haven't found a place to stay. We spoke to her about what she's gone through and how she's coming through this. Take a listen.
We actually were shut down for 7 months.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no income at all.
How tough was that?
You do what you need to do, you know.
It's tough to think about.
Yeah.
This was not a normal storm.
This was not a normal storm at all. Everyone, neighbors, customers, everybody kind of chipped in and helped everybody.
And that's what it's about. It's really about everyone chipping in, helping everybody. We've seen it throughout our time here last year. Still this year, folks are helping out. And John, as far as helping out these artists, helping them, what's the most important thing people can do?
People can come up and shop. They've gone through a lot. Some of them have been through the storm. Others, they need help because this is the time at our busiest season, and then it leads into our busiest season. So now's a great time to come up and shop during the leaves and everything.
And you get to see the beauty of the leaves turning the fall foliage, and also take some great items home, and also support this community. We're right here in Blowing Rock. I want to say Boiling Rock and Bowling Green. It's all over the place today. We've had a great time here. We'll send it back to you, Ben.
All right,
From Blowing
thanks.
Rock.
And folks, a reminder, we'll be up here live all week here in the mountains, and you'll continue to see these stories like Richard just outlined of folks who are thriving despite what's been difficult circumstances, and also folks who still really need our support. You can watch all those stories and our special Hurricane Helene 1 year later coverage right here on WCNC Plus and on WCNC Charlotte. Let's turn it back now to Lisa this morning. And Lisa, we mentioned it earlier, but it strikes me that it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure these mountain communities bounce back, because we all have memories here, whether it's skiing at one of the resorts, or hiking one of the many trails, or rafting. I know you grew up going to Tweetsie Railroad. I found this photo of a much younger Ben Thompson playing on the Lenco Viaduct when it was under construction. I'm probably 3 years old. So we have even memories we don't even know we have of these communities, and it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that they feel supported.
You scared me for a moment. I thought you were going to say you saw me as a child at Tweetsie Railroad. I was like, how did he get that? Oh my goodness. All right, Ben, glad you don't have that photo, but you're right. So many of us have memories of spending time in Western North Carolina, and that's why it's so incredibly important for us to support the communities there. Well, we're going to have more of these stories coming up, but right now we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more here on WCNC Plus. 7:17 now. You're streaming live on WCNC Plus. News making headlines across the country. A dramatic scene in court for the North Carolina man accused of trying to kill President Trump on his Florida golf course.
Ryan Ruth was found guilty on all 5 charges Tuesday. Aaron Gilchrist was in the courthouse for those closing arguments.
Just after Ryan Ruth was convicted of trying to assassinate President Trump at his West Palm Beach golf club, his daughter running beside the car authorities were transporting him in. All after inside court, Ruth attempted to stab himself in the neck with a pen. This court sketch showing that moment. NBC News producer Carmen Gonzalez witnessed the chaos in the courtroom.
As the jury was leaving, I looked over to him and I saw him doing this. I thought maybe he was having a seizure, but then I realized he had a pen and he was jabbing at his neck, trying to hurt himself.
Within seconds, she says, U.S. Marshals grabbed Ruth and took him away.
And the daughter started saying, Dad, don't, we love you.
A Florida jury deliberating for just 2 hours before convicting Ruth on all 5 counts, including attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate. Prosecutors in closing arguments saying a mountain of evidence showed one thing: Ruth wanted Donald Trump dead.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Individual in the bush with a gun.
Just 2 months after the assassination attempt in Butler, on September 15th last year, a Secret Service agent spotted the barrel of a semi-automatic rifle in the shrubbery outside Trump's golf club.
On the tree line, the individual was inside that tree line.
Authorities say Ruth had been lying in wait behind a fence for hours, undetected.
Straight back!
His arrest shown on this police body cam and this image of his gun. In court, Ruth represented himself in an often rambling presentation, arguing he did not have the character to kill, saying, if you don't have the cold heart to make it happen, is that intent? But prosecutors showed jurors a letter written by Ruth where he said, quote, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt." President Trump reacting tonight.
You can't let things like that happen. Nothing to do with me, but a president or even a person. You can't allow that to happen. And so justice was served.
Aaron Gilchrist with that report. We'll be back in just 2 minutes here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on WCNC Plus. So the tale of 2 storms. Check this out. Realistically, we'd have at least 2 tropical storms, maybe even hurricanes interacting with one another. So this is zooming in on where they're potentially going to form. This brings us up to 11 a.m. on Saturday. At this point, I think for sure we have a named Umberto, and then potentially we're going to be naming Imelda by Saturday. And then you have 2 strong systems at this point. They're both barreling up to the East Coast. So this Carolinas right here. here, but watch what happens. This is really interesting. You have one that starts to move onshore, and then they start to interact with each other. They actually get caught in the same wind field, so there's a chance that these two siblings, Umberto, can bring sister Imelda away from the Carolinas as the saving grace. Now, one thing you don't see here is Bermuda in between here. So Bermuda is very much in line for at least a direct Umberto impact for the time being, but that's a really unique setup. Also, you have a really dynamic upper level setup as well with an upper level low. This is one of the more complicated forecasts I can say in my meteorological career, but at the same time, it's worth the challenge. So this is one that you have to keep updated each and every day, but this is the first time that we're actually starting to see a clear picture what these two are going to do. They're not even named yet. They're just called Invest 93L and Invest 94L. Meanwhile, in the short term, we do know that we're dealing with some scattered showers and storms for tomorrow. This is our first real storm chance that we've had in over 2 weeks. The last time that we had a measurable rainfall, 16 days ago. So yeah, it's been a minute. We are expecting widespread rain really starting off your Thursday morning for the mountains, western North Carolina. First signs of storms could be here as early as noon, right around the Charlotte area, but then our chance for thunderstorms is really after 2 o'clock, so we'll call it mid to late afternoon. That's a little bit earlier that we're looking at, and then we could have some on and off showers and storms throughout the overnight. So we do have a little sliver of weather alert status to end the day heading into your Friday morning. And then as far as Friday goes, you do have an isolated storm chance, but things are trending dry. And then Saturday, still a good chance for more showers to work your way back in for the afternoon. But look at where temperatures go. Right around 91 degrees for the top, the hump for hump day. And then after that, the upper 70s taking over through the weekend and pretty much all of next week, even the lower 70s by the following Thursday. Wow. What has changed, Majestic, right? Any changes in traffic?
Just seeing very steady, busy conditions on this Wednesday morning. Look at how pretty it is outside, though. You can see traffic is really starting to back up. This is I-77 here. Still plenty of sunshine for that morning time commute. You can see nice, clear conditions for most of us. Drive times are definitely starting to increase now that we're at 7:24, 53 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, and just about 30 from Belmont. Still pockets of dense fog from Morganton to Hickory. That's going to slow down your morning commute just a bit, perhaps because of limited visibility. Up at I-77 out towards Davidson, we do have a crash. Southbound lanes will be impacted by this. It's at exit 31 Langtree Road to exit 30 near Griffith Street. So slowdowns are ongoing. Just to the south of it, a new accident right here. Lanes are closed because of a crash. It's on Reams Road both ways at Metro Mount Industrial Boulevard. Seeing all of this orange right here, we're seeing those impacts both ways, meaning that traffic is just moving very slowly. And then this one here, crash on Mallard Creek Church Road both ways at John Adams Road. We're going to take a quick break and we'll see you right back here on WCNC Plus in just a few minutes.
Welcome to the hottest day of the week. Yesterday, 89, today, 91. The normal, by the way, 81. We will be back to that before you know it. Today, also nice mix of cloud and sunshine, just more clouds to end the day. But letting you know, we do have our first outlook for at least a low end chance for a severe thunderstorm. That is this coming Thursday. Tomorrow, however, a lot of us are going to be just fine unscathed. But as you can see, widespread rain expected to start off the morning up in the mountains. But then we could see some on and off storms for the afternoon heading into the evening. So just be advised. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows that we are staying weather alert for your afternoon and overnight because of that storm potential. On and off rain potentially, though, heading into the weekend. Look at those temperatures, though, dropping back to the upper 70s for the weekend heading into next week. Majestic, nice little cool down.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful start to our morning commute if you're getting ready to head out the door. Nice sunshine out there. We're starting to see those delays on I-77, and our drive times, they are definitely increasing. Almost 1 hour if you're coming in from Gastonia and heading into Charlotte. We're still seeing some fog up towards the mountains and the foothills. Watch out as visibility may be reduced just a bit for that morning commute. I-77, we do have a crash here. Lane is closed because of it. Southbound lanes being impacted. The crash is at exit 31, backed up to exit 30.
Good morning. Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Autumn Bracey. We are now taking a live look over Cape Canaveral, Florida. You can see that satellite preparing for that big launch later on.
That's right. We're going to check in now with Chris Mulcahy. I know, Chris, you've been watching this as well. We've been talking about this. You have some information.
Yeah, no, well, first off, all systems hopefully a go. So it's supposed to be right here at 7:30. I'm not hearing any things that things are going to be scrubbed at this point. Atmospheric conditions are in line. We actually have 17 seconds till launch. You can see it right here. Let's do a fun countdown here. Officially coming up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
1. Engines full power. And lift off. Go Falcon, go IMAP, go Swifo L1, and go Carruthers.
And we are flying 3 new missions on a 1,000,000-mile journey to track space weather. Good looking flight so far. Our tracking cameras getting a great shot as this mission climbs into the sky. We'll be looking now for those engines to throttle down as we go through max Q. The time of maximum dynamic pressure on the
Falcon
vehicle.
9 power and telemetry are nominal.
That's right. So coming up is max Q, which is the maximum aerodynamic pressure, largest structural load the vehicle will experience. So slowing it down helps to reduce some of the load it
Falcon 9
experiences.
is supersonic.
And that will help us recover and reuse the first stage. Following max Q, we'll be able to throttle those engines back up as atmospheric density drops.
Max Q. And back chill.
Well, there it is. Launch a success. The biggest hassle usually for these launches is to make sure that the weather is just right. The winds cannot be more than 20 miles per hour, even a wind gust, but everything was perfect. And it looks like everything's system go, so that is fantastic. And this is going to give so much research. These satellites are going to observe atmospheric conditions from space to better understand the solar winds. That's going to help us for the forecasting of the northern lights, and also the aurora australis, which is the one in the southern hemisphere, and also just the auroras in general. Better communication for the GPS, and also track power grid blackouts as well. So this is a really big deal for us scientists as well, but also it's really nice to see a successful launch as we just saw there.
Here's the thing, a lot of people are working this. I actually have a friend who works for NASA. She just texted me and said, our space flight is launching. She just texted me,
cool.
My spacecraft is launching. So I was like, yay.
That's a great story.
Well, and think about
But it's so important because we're talking about the research that they're doing. As you said, benefits so many of us in ways that we don't even think about.
And you have a friend there.
Yes.
There are friends on friends that work for there that takes billions of mathematical equations that have to be perfect for that all to align. Maybe coming down to the exact ratio of the fuel to the atmospheric conditions, aerodynamics. So it's always spectacular when things go as smooth as this is. And it was a lot of science talk, but everyone was super excited that everything went just right. And look at this. We are already seeing the beautiful blue.
It's just fascinating. It really is. I mean, to see our planet below and to understand the work that goes behind this. And as you said, so many calculations, so much data that they will be collecting that will really help all of us.
And everyone is celebrating right now. And thank you to your friend.
Yes.
For all the, do we get to give her a name shout or is
I
it
told her I
confidential?
wouldn't name her, so.
Okay, well, Lisa's friend, we appreciate you and all your work. And congratulations, NASA. Can't wait to see all the research that comes from this. Meanwhile, weather on the ground here, not talking about solar winds or anything like that. I want to jump right to the 7-day. The reason why is because I want to kind of work backwards here, because I think that we have a couple of really big pieces of the forecast. Number one, things that we know for sure, and that's going to be a front that approaches, and that front is going to bring us some rain for your Thursday night, heading into Friday, and then we're going to have on and off rain chances after that. Now, that's not really specific, is it? We're at 91 today, mid-80s, and then falling down to a general range in the upper 70s. So that's one showing that we're likely seeing more cloud cover, more rain chances that are coming on and off with this as well. But then this is also showing that we have a really unsettled pattern. And the reason why is all because of what's happening over in the tropics. So I've been mentioning the couple of waves that are Invest 93L and Invest 94L that soon are likely going to become the brother and sister Umberto and Imelda. Now, this general path is one that I truly can't remember seeing, that this is potentially going to be two systems working together, and eventually one is going to drag the other out. And actually might even call it the savior for the Carolinas. Because check it out. All these plots start heading towards the Carolinas, but then most of them are brought back out to sea, where the two of these can interact with one another. So check out our surface map. We're going to have the front move through tomorrow night, and eventually on Friday, it's going to settle right here along the shoreline. But it's more complicated than that. It's not just what happens here at the surface, not even what happens a mile up. There's also an upper level jet stream and other things, there's mid-levels, upper levels that we all have to track as meteorologists. That could be a judgment of wind shear, the direction of where things are traveling. They call it steering currents. Well, this upper level low, and that's what that L that you see there, is also going to be a big blockade to the United States. So what that's doing right now is pretty much putting up the Heisman for anything trying to come onshore. But it's not just that. If we just had one single system, look how close we are. If you look at the upper right, this is Monday at 11 a.m., we're looking at a potential even hurricane at this point trying to make landfall here in the Carolinas. But how quickly this happens. Now, this is only one model run, but it looks like these two systems start to interact. So check it out. See how these general lines, this is constant line of sea level pressure, or mean sea level pressure it's called. See how it makes that figure eight? That is actually showing that the wind fields are combining. So Umberto, the storm on the right, likely is going to take holds of the storm on the left, Imelda, and try to drag it back out to sea. Now, it's still a big question mark what's going to happen with Bermuda, if it's going to be directly impacted or not. But this is an extremely complex forecast. So what I'm really just ironing out here is that we're going to see rain over the next couple of days. It'll be on and off through the weekend, but it all depends if this scenario I just showed you plays out or not. If not, we're going to see things turn the other direction. More rain, more widespread flooding, and a possibility here in the Carolinas. So stand by with us. This is going to be a really unique setup, but I'm hoping the scenario I just showed you on your screen is the one that ends up playing out. So Mother Nature, I'm pleading you. Let's go over to Majestic, see what's going on for our morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. Let's get straight to it as you're heading out the door this morning. It is a beautiful start to the day. I-77 there is definitely getting a little jam-packed, but it's always helpful when we have gorgeous weather outside. Lots of sunshine right now. Drive times looking like this: 60 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, and just over 30 if you're heading out the door in Belmont to get into Charlotte. Still seeing pockets of dense fog right here northwest of Charlotte from Morganton to Hickory. That's where it is going to be the worst. Watch for that as your visibility may be reduced for that morning commute. We have a handful of accidents to report this morning, but we are seeing some slowdowns on I-77. A lane is closed because of a crash. It's on those southbound lanes from exit 31 to exit 30. So allow for a few extra minutes to get through that. An additional lane is closed because of a crash. This time it's on Reams Road, both ways at Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Seeing those colors still popping up, so still not cleared. And then this one here, it's a crash on Mallard Creek Church Road, both ways at John Adams Road. So yes, it is a beautiful start to the day, but take it easy out there because we are looking at multiple ongoing crashes. For now, I'm going to send things out to Ben, my good friend Ben, who is out.
Hey there, Majestic. Yeah, 7:39. The sun now up here in Boone, and all week long we're highlighting the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene and some of the inspiring stories of survival and resilience. And while a lot of people have shared their experiences from the ground level, we spoke to a Blue Ridge energy worker here on WCNC Plus who offered a rare and important perspective from above the storm's path. Take a listen.
So I was expecting to see, just a lot of high water, things like that. What I didn't expect to see was entire mountainsides just falling off, or slabs where houses used to be, and it's just a concrete slab now with a house, 400 or 500 yards down the river. Bridges gone, entire mountainsides of just the trees had fallen over. The mountain was still there, or mudslides. Out west, you have mudslides. Here, it's not so much of a thing, but it was just the whole sides of the mountains fell off. It was eye-opening for sure.
Whole sides of the mountain. Wow. Well, some promising news now. North Carolina receiving more than $1 billion to repair transportation issues caused by Helene. It happens to be the largest federal emergency relief grant a state to get through the Highway Administration. So far, the U.S. DOT has given nearly $2 billion in emergency funds for Helene damage repairs. The governor responding on social media, saying thanks to federal officials for the funding, saying he plans to keep North Carolina moving forward. 7:41 right now. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're back after this.
want to give you a traffic update. I've been talking about this accident for a while now. It's right here. Lanes are closed because of a crash. It's on Reeves Road. Both ways will be impacted at Metromont Industrial Boulevard. We just got some confirmation that unfortunately this is a fatal crash. Their investigators are out there investigating the ongoing problem. Not only do we have that fatality, but another person is getting transported with serious injuries. So as you can see, this is the area that you're going to want to again, lanes are going to be completely shut at this point at Reeves Road, both ways at Metromont Industrial Boulevard. We'll be following this for you all morning long. Autumn.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Well, this morning, a new crime bill is headed to Governor Josh Stein's desk. North Carolina lawmakers passed this bill in response to the deadly stabbing of Irina Zarutska. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with a look at what's inside of this bill. Destiny.
Good morning. Lawmakers passed this in the House with an 82-30 vote. And if Governor Josh Stein signs it into law, then it would end cashless bail for certain violent offenders, and it would speed up the process for death penalty appeals. Now, this bill was first introduced in March and then renamed Irina's Law. This is after 23-year-old Irina Zarutska was killed last month on Charlotte's light rail. Her death sparked national attention and a debate over transit safety. The murder suspect, DeCarlos Brown, also had a lengthy criminal history in Mecklenburg County. Lawmakers say the measure is designed to restore confidence in the justice system, making sure violent offenders face stricter consequences. The bill also requires mental health evaluations in certain cases and orders a review of how Charlotte and Mecklenburg County spend money on crime prevention programs.
We're going to go through the entire budget for the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County to see where these funds are going, because ultimately we're dealing with a local government, really Mecklenburg County and city of Charlotte, two local governments that, in my opinion, have lost institutional control of their areas.
This was a Republican-penned bill, and backers say it's about preventing future tragedies. But some House Democrats pushed back, arguing the plan doesn't go far enough. They say it lacks funding for mental health services, crisis responders, and even extra police staffing, resources they believe could help stop crimes before they happen. Now, the bill is headed to Governor Josh Stein's desk. A spokesperson for him said he is reviewing the bill, but he has not come out yet and said whether he will sign it. Live this morning in Uptown, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, thanks, Destiny, for that update. Well, coming up, stay with us. We're going to be back live to Boone, and we'll have more on how One Mountain Community is rebuilding more than just roads and bridges.
Live now at 7:49 here on WCNC Plus, and we're back here in Boone. And when Hurricane Helene hit, many mountain communities had little to no time to react, but people, they banded together, in some places creating groups and organizations that answered the need in those communities. Take, for example, in Ashe County, Lansing's Bridge to Recovery has worked tirelessly, connecting people to their humanity, one bridge, one road, one relationship at a time. Colin Mayfield has more.
I was volunteering at the distribution center, and they were doing their recon and their spreadsheets and stuff out of this little like unlit back room in behind the sort of like, it was like an old auto garage that turned into a distribution center.
Ashe County resident Anna Wheeler recalls vividly the day waters rose and swelled in the middle of Lansing's Main Street. Since that time, Lansing's Bridge to Recovery has been working day after day, building private infrastructure that washed away.
Week to week, almost week to week, we've got one or two smaller projects, whether it be like a small bridge rebuild or a driveway that needs grading and gravel.
The work is gargantuan, with hundreds of bridges and roads still needing repairs. It's a tedious process, examining ongoing projects and others that are yet to break ground. Wheeler says the work is as changeable as the conditions, with heavy rains over the past year damaging current and future projects.
And also, like, we have had trouble sourcing concrete lately because there's such high demand for concrete due to all the reconstruction work that it's just hard to come by. So we've had some setbacks.
Wheeler says they've run primarily on donations and philanthropic activities since the inception right after Helene. She admits many of the Helene-specific grants are gone, and there's really no money to replace these types of private roads and bridges.
It's pretty rigorous criteria, and if you don't meet it perfectly, then you don't get reimbursed.
Many projects are complex, and with a shortage of civil engineers and other environmental experts to aid in building structures, a safe workaround was needed. Determined to move the needle in Ashe County, one of LBTR's founders and only engineers, Emily Davis, called on her connections at UNC Charlotte, creating a genius collaboration.
The class is about teaching the students quickly about using some modern tools to design these temporary crossing bridges.
Currently, the students are working on their first iteration of a bridge built to withstand a 25-year flood and hold as much as a fire truck.
We designed the bridge, and we asked the contractor to provide the foundation so that the local, we're also giving back to the local community.
Actually seeing the sites just gives you like, oh, yeah, that is a deep hole that needs to be fixed. This is an actual problem. You can't just drive your car over some of these sites.
Teams from UNC Charlotte come up regularly and expand their knowledge consistently, including using different structures to build bridges while cement stays in high demand. They realize they're in this for the long haul, and it could take years to get through their list of projects just in Ashe County alone.
We hope that we can hold out long enough to get more funding to, grow into a long-term recovery organization that is around for a long time, because we're also interested in, future disaster preparedness.
Colin Mayfield reporting for us there. All that includes repairing private bridges, culverts, driveways as well. Lansing's Bridge to Recovery is building programs around stream bank stabilization and environmental restoration to prepare for any future storms. And a reminder, folks, we'll be live here in the mountains all week long. Over the coming days, you'll see a lot of stories that may inspire you, and other stories that may frustrate you because there's not been enough work done to help these people. All of it going to be right here. And you can watch our special Hurricane Helene coverage 1 year later right here on WCNC Charlotte and here on WCNC Plus. Let's turn back down to Majestic. Some problems out there on the roads.
We have multiple ongoing wrecks this morning. You can see live camera look. This is coming in on I-77. This is where we do have one crash that I'm going to get to, but I do want to let you know about a fatal crash that just came in. We've been talking about this crash for quite some time this morning, but we just got some confirmation that unfortunately this is a fatal crash. It's near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. You can see it right here. Another patient is transported with serious injuries, and emergency responders are saying to avoid this area because of that ongoing problem. Off to the east, want to show you I-85 here. It is backed up. We have an additional crash here, Mallard Creek Church Road at I-85. That's where we do have a wreck. So partially we do have concerns because of the wreck, but also this is a very typical area that we oftentimes see a lot of congestion this time of the day. I-77 south at Trade Street, exit 10. That was that live camera look that I just showed you. It's backed up to I-85 Statesville Ave. That's exit 13. So mainly those southbound lanes on I-77 will be impacted because of this ongoing accident. We'll have another update coming up here quickly.
Well, good morning, everybody. That fog was improving, but then we start to see those visibilities drop off again down to a goose egg right around Morganton. So that is the biggest issue that we have in the weather world. Quarter mile right around Hickory. That'll start to improve over the next hour or so. High temperatures up to around 90 degrees last time for 2025, the way it's looking. And then it will be a little bit cooler going forward. More clouds heading through the overnight will keep us nice and mild. As far as the rain chances, we're going to see it right around the mountains and the foothills heading later on this afternoon, and then more widespread rain through the overnight right along the Tennessee border. And then we'll see on and off storms heading into your Thursday afternoon. So that's why we're going weather alert. Now continue through the overnight. After that, cooler. We're still on and off rain for the weekend. Majestic, big things happening.
Multiple ongoing wrecks this morning, and unfortunately we do have a fatal crash. This is going to be at north of Uptown near I-485. A fatal crash near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Another patient has been transported with serious injuries. They're asking to completely avoid this area. Just to the east, want to show you I-85. Those backups are on. We have a crash right here on Mallard Creek Church Road at I-85, and then I-77. Lots of red stop and go traffic. This is I-77 south at Trade Street where the accident is, and it's backed up to exit 13. More coming up on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus at 8. I'm Autumn Bracey.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This week, we're continuing to share the stories of recovery nearly 1 year after Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina. Ben Thompson joining us again. He's live this morning in Boone. And I know that the sun has come up now, Ben, so you're able to see more of King Street there. And Boone, it certainly looks a lot different now than it did 1 year ago.
Very true, Lisa. And you know, I'm also able to look behind me and start to look up at some of the mountains, and you can see some of the colors start to change because we're, of course, at a much higher altitude than you are in Charlotte. And of course, it's showing off as usual, the North Carolina mountains. And the thing is, the next few weeks, they're going to be critical for the folks here in the mountains because of the tourism industry. Leaf peeping is just huge up here, usually around the middle of October. So everybody's pulling together, hoping for a much better season than they had last year. You know, the storm's impact changed daily life for families and businesses, both large and small. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Evane, he's live for us this morning down in Blowing Rock, explaining how a lot of small business owners are trying to bounce back.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Autumn, there in Charlotte. And good Wednesday morning, everyone. Yeah, we're here in Blowing Rock. That sun is coming up. Beautiful day. I'm looking at the mountains this way. And, well, Ruben's going to show you what I'm looking at. What a beautiful sight in the morning. That is absolutely gorgeous. If you live up here, you just get to enjoy it every day. If you don't, this is the time of the year. The next few weeks, of course, to come. You can see the fall foliage. You can enjoy yourself. And most importantly, you can come out and come to a store like this. We're at the Coal Miner's Daughter Mercantile Store. Look, you can get an item like this. John is showing us this item. This is a beautiful item. John, tell us a little bit about this item and who designed it.
This is from Dale Burnett with Scribeworks. And all this wood is reclaimed from Hurricane Helene. And then he puts all these images on them with a laser.
Wow, and Ruben will show you some other ones that are over there in the corner. Those are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is just this. Now, there are dozens of different vendors all here in this particular location. John, thank you for joining us. He actually got up and came up to town yesterday. He's from Charlotte, owns this location. And tell us about, we'll let your little assistant, my favorite person here, we've been sharing stories about just different things. Tell us about this particular vendor.
This is recycled cabinets.
Tell us your name.
Oh, Crystal.
Crystal, our favorite.
And she's fantastic. She does the tiles with all the encouraging sayings, and then she's also got the cabinets and cabinet doors.
We won't let this fall. We'll grab this. And one of the things is, look at that. That's beautiful. All done from cabinets. That is phenomenal. And one of the things, Helene affected her too, right, John?
Excuse me?
She was affected because of Helene. Tell us about that.
She was in another vendor store in Boone, and that store got flooded out. And she came here asking if she could put her stuff in our store. And we loved her stuff, so we said yes, of course.
And this is the time of the year to come up here and get stuff like this. This is so important for folks to spend their money here, come visit the mountain areas. And, you know, not just here, but like even in places like Newland, as we look at some video, that's a place that was devastated by Helene. The folks in Newland and other communities across the mountains of Western Carolina said that was the storm was nothing like they'd ever seen before, the flooding. We have video taken by Julie Vernable, who owns Pack Rats. She says, while much of the initial debris has been cleared and some businesses have been able to reopen, the road to full recovery remains long and difficult. You know, many homes were completely destroyed, and a year later, many residents are still displaced. We've heard that some are living in trailers or with family. The spirit of the community remains strong. We've seen it every day, but there are local groups and organizations leading the recovery efforts. But as residents reflect on the past year, they know that rebuilding thousands of destroyed homes, miles of washed out roads, and damaged businesses will take years and require continued support, especially from folks like you and I. Take a listen.
We actually were shut down for 7 months.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no income at all.
How tough was that?
You do what you need to do, you know.
It's tough to think about.
Yeah.
This was not a normal storm.
This was not a normal storm at all. Everyone, neighbors, customers, everybody kind of chipped in and helped everybody.
And that's what it's all about, chipping in and helping everybody. And you can come out, chip in, and get you some phenomenal artwork here. There's dozens of vendors in this store, right, John?
Yeah, we have over 55 vendors.
And just folks come up, you can spend hours in here finding, you're not going to find these items anyplace else probably.
No, most of the items are just handmade, so there's no one piece of the same. Yep.
And you can find anything in the store. And if you have time, come up here, talk to these fine folks. You drove up from Charlotte last night just to spend time with us. I appreciate that. And you, of course, you told us about the bunny rabbit, Kyle. We'll tell that story another time. We've had a great time up here this morning. We're right here. I can tell you about Kyle one day. I promise to tell you about Kyle. It's a tasty story. Anyway, I'm here in Blowing Rock, guys. And by the way, we have this link on our website where you can go and find out about the store, about the coal miner's door, the mercantile store. Come up here and spend your money, spend your time, and enjoy as these folks continue to get back on their feet. The recovery continues. Send it back to you.
Now all of North Carolina is curious about Kyle. All right, Richard, thank you for that. We appreciate it. And a reminder, folks, we're live here in the mountains all week long as we mark the 1-year anniversary of Helene. You can watch our special Hurricane Helene 1 year later right here on WCNC Plus and on WCNC Charlotte. 8:06 right now here on WCNC Plus. Let's turn it back to Chris with a look at your weather impact forecast.
And Ben, I just want to let everyone know, everyone here in the studio is a fan of No Tie Ben. Looking good, my friend. Great reports out there. And today is going to be a humid day. Tomorrow is going to be a muggy day. That's one of the bigger changes that we have. And it is looking like it is going to be really just a hot and humid couple of days. Now, more so today. Today, our 91-degree high will feel more like the lower to even the mid-90s in some locations. And then even though we're only in the mid-80s tomorrow, it still could feel close to 90 degrees. So it's really today, tomorrow, and heading into your Friday, we're still going to be holding on to this humid and muggy air before we slowly start to dry out heading into the middle of next week. There's just a lot of pieces on the board that could potentially change up our forecast. But in the near term, we know what's going to affect us, and that's going to be approaching a cold front, driving into that heat and humidity. 91 today. Yesterday we were at 89, so I do think that we are going to hit 90 degrees for the last time of 2025. Trust me, the way that our 10-day forecast is going, it is going to be really tough for us to completely switch gears and ramp back up to 90 degrees. Plus, it becomes rarer and rarer the deeper we go into October. 87 degrees right around Hickory, 75 degrees around Boone. And you can see each day going forward, we are going to get a lot cooler and then back to either side of 80 degrees by the weekend. As far as our rain chances go, don't worry about today. It's really Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening into Friday morning that we're going to see our next chance for rain. I think it's Friday night to Saturday, and then on and off rain chances possible through the weekend. But it all depends on what a couple of systems out in the Atlantic are going to do that don't even have names yet. Again, I'll get to that. We have an on and off shower potential right around the Tennessee border up in the mountains of the foothills, just as we did yesterday. Notice the time. Right around 2 o'clock, 2 to 4 to 6 is where we see most of the activity. But more widespread rain is anticipated to close out the evening and begin the overnight hours. So right around midnight, you can expect widespread rain, even some thunderstorms, batches of rain in here. And that's why there's a better flood threat up here. And then heading into your Thursday afternoon, I think that we could see some passing rain, more light to moderate rain showers, embedded thunder also possible right here around the I-40 corridor. And then on and off showers and thunderstorms will be possible during the afternoon. And that's why we do have a low risk for severe storms. We'll keep this activity around for the evening. But one thing that has changed, not as much rain for your Friday morning. Take this with a grain of salt. So right now it only shows one little branch of showers. I do think it might be a little bit more widespread, and then heading into the weekend, on and off rain. So that's why the Storm Prediction Center does have us under a low risk for a severe storm. And as far as any flood potentials go, in the mountains the next couple of days, you're going to have a low threat for excessive rainfall, and then it will get to more of a widespread flood threat getting to your Friday and Saturday. We're going to put our weather bookmark here yet again, because next time I'm going to be up here talking about the weather, I need to tell you about potential Umberto and Imelda, what that means for our forecast, and how complex and rare this setup is potentially going to be. But first, let's get over to Majestic, who's dealing with quite the morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let's let's get to it. We have a lot of ongoing accidents to let you know about this morning. I want to take you right to I-77 here, where we're following an accident that's impacting I-77 South, specifically at Trade Street. That's exit 10, where the crash did happen, but now it's backed up at least 3 miles to I-85 Statesville Ave. So you can see all the red here. Again, this is the lane that's going to be slow moving. I-77 South, again, this is right at Trade Street. So just allow for some extra drive times as you're heading out the door this morning. Unfortunately, we're also watching this, a fatal crash near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Another patient was transported with serious injuries, and they're asking to completely avoid that area at this time. And then this accident here, it seems like we do still have some slowdowns. You can see it here. It's on Mallard Creek Church Road at I-85 here with slow moving conditions. Those are the major things that I'm watching for now. We'll have another update on traffic coming up here in a bit.
All right, see you soon. Thank you so much, Majestic. Well, Vice President J.D. Vance is set to visit Concord today. He'll be speaking to reporters around 2:30 this afternoon. It'll be his first official trip back to North Carolina since taking office. And the White House says he's expected to discuss public safety, law enforcement, and President Trump's tax cuts. Now, we are going to have live coverage of the event right here on WCNC Charlotte and on WCNC Plus.
We are back with more news in just 2 minutes right here on WCNC Plus. The time is now 8:14. A man is facing charges this morning accused of secretly recording a woman at a South Charlotte spa. Police arrested 40-year-old Jared Crawford yesterday. CMPD says he hid a phone in a massage room at the Silent Moment Spa on Park Road, and the victim spotted it recording after her session. She then airdropped the videos to her own phone before calling police. Officers also tell us Crawford had been fired from other local spas following complaints. He is now charged with felony secret peeping.
Well, President Trump delivering a scathing message to the United Nations and some allies during the speech at the UN. And as NBC's Garrett Hake reports, the president is also signaling a major shift involving the war in Ukraine, now calling on Ukraine to fight and win.
As President Trump arrived at the UN, the malfunctions piling up. The escalator stopping the moment he and the First Lady stepped on, and the teleprompter failing just as he started to speak.
These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
all as he delivered a scathing message, arguing the UN has become irrelevant.
What is the purpose of the United Nations?
Saying they've failed to stop global conflicts.
All they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action.
And sending this warning to leaders in Western Europe.
Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe,
urging them to adopt his crackdown on illegal immigration.
It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
But despite his criticism of the UN, the president's own efforts to end wars in Ukraine and in Gaza have largely stalled. But in a sudden shift, after this meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky,
thanks to our soldiers, we have this possibility, this opportunity.
Tonight, President Trump urging Ukraine to expand the battlefield, after earlier warning they may have to concede territory for peace. Writing, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form.
The other side can fight too, and they've proven that. Maybe it could be that Russia's a paper tiger. Let them get their land back.
Yep.
So we'll see how it all works out.
Also calling for a strong response after recent Russian incursions.
Mr. President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
This praise tonight from President Zelensky.
Big shift. Big shift. This post of Trump, it's a big shift.
And after key allies, including France and Canada, announced their recognition of a Palestinian state,
Canada recognizes the state of Palestine.
President Trump condemning that move.
The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. Instead of giving in to Hamas's ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now.
That was NBC's Garrett Haig.
Well, coming up, our Helene coverage continues. We're live in Boone with what educators are doing to help students through this difficult time 1 year after Helene.
Well, good morning, everyone. We do have a traffic alert for you. Unfortunately, we are following a fatal crash. This is going to be north of Uptown, close to 485 right here. We have had confirmation that one person did die in this accident this morning. This is going to be near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Another patient was transported with serious injuries. So again, this is where it's going to be. You can see it on my map. The colors are still out there, meaning that, again, this is not an area that you want to be in. They're asking to stay out of this area as the investigation is still ongoing. For now, though, we're going to send things over to Ben. We'll have a full detailed look at traffic and weather coming up here shortly.
Majestic, thanks. Live at 8:20 right now, and it has now almost been 1 year since Hurricane Helene slammed western North Carolina. That's why we're here in Boone all week long, looking at the lasting impact. And you know what? We know billion-dollar weather disasters hit hard. In fact, last year, there were 27 of them, 27. One of them, of course, being Helene. But how do these disasters impact students and their teachers as they try to get back to some sense of normalcy? Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees is raising our weather IQ.
Any reason for school to close can impact students in many ways: missing instruction, condensed curriculum, and even socialization. This means students have a much harder time catching up once school is back in session. However, school closures due to natural disasters like Hurricane Helene typically results in more lost learning. Megan Kufeld is the Director of Growth Modeling Data Analytics at NWEA, an assessment and research organization that works with school districts across the country. She says weather-related disasters compound trauma.
We know there just can be a number of disruptions from these storms that affect students and families directly. So including students who may have their houses damaged or destroyed, neighborhoods and families' livelihoods affected. They might be displaced for a period of time.
All of these additional challenges can make it harder for children to focus when they do return, especially the older they are. As curriculum becomes more complex, it can be harder to catch up. In their research, Kufeld says test scores show missing 1 week of school due to a weather-related disaster can be like missing 2 to 3 weeks, if not more.
Like the mountains of North Carolina to hurricane damage and flooding seem to be more vulnerable. So I think that the kind of it may not be necessarily more days missed, but a lot of districts that may not have had to worry about building in a lot of time for things like hurricane days.
Kufeld says there is no school district immune to these impacts, but there are ways school districts can prepare. Develop a school emergency plan, prepare schools for climate resiliency, such as upgrading HVAC systems or technology, building flexible school calendars, specifically with dates built in toward the end of the year, and investing in support for the mental health of students, as well as teachers and other staff members. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Approaching 8:23 right now on WCNC Plus, and turning back to your forecast. And Chris, thank goodness the sun came up about an hour ago because it was getting chilly, and our heater has run out of propane, so my feet I can barely feel at this point.
Well, yeah, and we always mention it, the mountains are always chillier, so I'm glad you got the sunshine, my man. And today's going to be a great day. Just ask Lisa. It gets so much better. You're going to be rocking those 70s a little bit later on. But I want to start out here. I want to start opposite of the mountains, and we're heading out into the Atlantic. This is crazy that we have two potential tropical systems that are going to collide with one another. And we have a 90% chance over the next 7 days for wave number 1, and wave number 2, it is roughly an 80% chance. So that is absolutely significant overall. Now, I want to look one update, still 30. Okay, the one thing that we can change here is it's now a 90% chance that we're actually going to develop wave number 1. And here, that actually has the name Invest 93L. So right now, winds are about 35 miles per hour. Invest 94 winds at about 30 miles per hour for the most recent update. This likely, and I would not be surprised, either later on today or at minimal by tomorrow, is going to become at least tropical depression, or should I say, I think, tropical storm Umberto. I think this other one is going to become Imelda. What's really interesting and unique about the setup is all of them are technically aiming at the Carolinas, but like two tops. They might bump into one another and then they start to go on a different path. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen, that first wave potentially could actually drag the second one away from the Carolinas as a saving grace. We also have another player here. The cold front that's going to bring us the rain that I was talking about earlier. That's why I put the weather bookmark right here. We're going to have an upper level low that is a shift allowing things out of the south that's also going to be kind of putting up the Heisman as well. So watch how close we come. We're seeing one storm approach the Carolinas, but then it gets dragged back out to sea. Fingers crossed that this is going to come to fruition. We'll be right back after this break. Well, good morning, everybody. It is going to be a warm day. Check this out. Beautiful skies, though. We did have some clouds off yonder, and you can still see them there. Today, overall, is going to be mostly sunny to a partly cloudy one, a few more clouds to end the day, but 91 separates from all the rest. That is the hottest day that we have over the next 7 and perhaps for the rest of the year. Yesterday, we officially hit 89 today at that 91-degree point. We do have a weather impact risk, and that is going to be for tomorrow afternoon and Thursday night, and that's because gusty winds and slick roads, especially because it's been so dry. So stay updated with us on WCNC Plus. We got a wicked and wild forecast because heading into the weekend, we are much cooler with on and off rain. We also have approaching tropical systems that are going to be controlling our forecast. So just note that we could have some slick driving conditions for your Thursday late day heading into your Friday. After that, on and off rain and much cooler, starting to feel a little bit more fall-like as well, less humidity the middle of next week. It has been an active morning in the traffic sphere. Let's get over to Majestic.
Multiple ongoing wrecks this morning. Unfortunately, want to take you right onto I-77 where we are following this crash here. It's on I-77 South at Trade Street. That's exit 10. It's backed up to exit 13. You can see this is right around that area. So traffic is still moving. It's just moving a little slower than it typically would be if there wasn't a crash. Unfortunately, we do have tragic news. A fatal crash this morning near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Another patient has been transported with serious injuries, so just avoid this area at all costs.
for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Wednesday. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Autumn Bracey. Our Ben Thompson is live in Boone with what the area's been doing to recover all year long. Ben.
Yeah, that's right, Autumn. We're here live in Boone all week long, marking the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene, which actually made landfall a year ago this Saturday morning. And we continue to spotlight some of the stories of survival and resilience. While many have shared their experiences from what they saw on the ground, we did speak to a Blue Ridge energy utility worker right here on WCNC Plus, and he was able to offer a rare and really powerful perspective from above the storm's aftermath.
So I was expecting to see, just a lot of high water, things like that. What I didn't expect to see was entire mountainsides just falling off, or slabs where houses used to be, and it's just a concrete slab now with a house, 400 or 500 yards down the river. Bridge is gone. Entire mountainsides of just the trees had fallen over. The mountain was still there, or mudslides. Out west, you have mudslides. Here, it's not so much of a thing, but it was just the whole sides of the mountains fell off. It was eye-opening for sure.
Well, North Carolina is receiving over $1 billion, we've learned, to repair transportation damaged by Helene. This is going to be critical. This, by the way, represents the largest federal emergency relief grant to a state through the Highway Administration. So far, the U.S. DOT has given nearly $2 billion in emergency funds for Helene repairs. The governor responding on social media, thanking the federal officials for the funding and saying he plans to keep North Carolina moving forward. Well, you know what, nonprofits, they have been such a lifeline for a lot of these towns in the mountains. They did everything from clearing debris to offering food, shelter, mental health counseling, you name it. 38 of those organizations that stepped up when people needed them most were honored at a luncheon in Asheville yesterday. The Duke Energy Foundation surprising each group with a $5,000 grant towards disaster response. For those nonprofits, the recognition is a moment to catch their breath and remember they're not in this work alone.
See so many people working together, to see so many people coming together and being hopeful about the future, even though our community's been through something so terrible. I think that's the most powerful part of it.
Those groups saying grants like this one are the fuel that keep them going in the midst of what is really such a long recovery at this point. 8:33 right now on WCNC Plus. Turning back to your weather impact forecast with Chris. And Chris, we've seen it that it takes years for these communities to bounce back. Typically we talk about towns along the coast having to fight back from a hurricane. This is one of those rare examples, and we've sort of laid out why it happened this way, that mountain communities were the ones that were struggling so much.
And the thing along the coast is you can bring a big ship up and then bring a bunch of supplies. It was so difficult to bring so much up there, Ben. And Ben, I want to stay with you real quick. We were mentioning how we went and saw the Boone King Street go from the street that we know to a river. And how each and every 10 to 15 minutes a new emergency came up. Just seeing something like that, we were just reporting words. Actually seeing the damage that we were showing there, it's just unimaginable.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, you're a scientist, so you crunch numbers, and that sort of tells you. For me, I don't remember in my career, and having covered probably more than dozens of these hurricanes here in the Carolinas over the last 20 years, such a sort of signal in the middle of a storm of oh, okay, this is serious. Because oftentimes it's not until a day or two later that you realize how serious a storm is. That was a case of where we were on the air. I was there in the studio in my seat, and I saw that live picture of King Street flooded. It looked like a river. And instantaneously that told you and told everybody watching how serious the storm was.
Yeah, and it wasn't just you and I. Brad was here and Larry was here. And you're talking about well over 50, 60, 70 years of experience there alone. Yeah. And they were evening off of that. But a great reporting, Ben. We'll get back to you here shortly. And officially today in this weather history is where Hurricane Helene became Hurricane Helene. That's right, becoming a tropical storm and then a hurricane, and then quickly, rapidly intensifying into the storm that we knew on the 25th. So yeah, officially Helene was born on September 24th, and it only took 3 days to make its journey from right around the Yucatan Peninsula all the way to the north. Just incredible. Our sunrise time officially was at 7:13. Sun is officially up for the day and absolutely gorgeous. I can say that our visibilities have been all over the place. Now we're starting to see an increase of visibility right here around Charlotte. This one's kind of that snuck up. Things were improving, and then what ended up happening was the winds started to calm down again, and that allowed the fog to build right here in Morganton and Hickory, where we saw some of the rain yesterday, and also some patchy dense fog right here around Chesterfield County and Charlotte. Most of us are sitting pretty just fine. No worries about visibilities, but just those areas are going to be problematic still for another hour or so. Current temperatures at 68 degrees. This is at the time of the day that we are hitting our morning low. And now the next update that we have in the next 24 minutes will officially say that the warm up has begun. And since we are starting warmer than yesterday, looks like we're going to be warmer than yesterday. Yesterday, we hit a high of 89. I think we're going to be jumping to about 91 across the area. And there's another thing that increases today, the humidity. Oh, joy, right? Yeah, you have temperatures in the mid 60s for dew points. That's also inhibiting us from cooling down too much. And by tomorrow, you are feeling it. You don't have that crisper air that Ben was talking about up in the mountains. No, you're going to have that air you can wear by tomorrow, and that potentially could be some storm fuel. And then for your Thursday and Friday, we're staying around that muggy range. It's really not until later on next week that it starts to feel comfortable again, because we still have a lot of things that could change in the tropics that are just our forecast. But in the near term, it looks like your Thursday and your Saturday trending to be the wettest. Friday is looking to be a little bit drier, even including the morning, but we're still going to keep an on and off rain and storm chance around for the near future. By the way, the last time that we had measurable rain in Charlotte, 16 days ago. So the next time that we deal with rain, it could cause the roads to be about 2 to 3 times slicker. That usually happens after a significant dry spell. As far as I look at the tropics, we now have an 80% chance for development over the next 7 days for tropical wave number 2, and number 1 is likely going to be happening, I would say, over the next 24 hours or so. It's just finding its center, 35-mile-per-hour winds. By 11 o'clock, we'll see what the update is, but I wouldn't be surprised if we might be calling this at least a tropical depression, even tropical storm Umberto later on today. At least by tomorrow, I think that's going to happen. Now, the biggest part of the forecast is what these two systems are going to do. But as of right now, it looks like they are going to interact with each other. They're going to play almost tropical storm volley. Coming up, I'm going to talk about the Fujiwara effect, the fancy weather term that actually could save the Carolinas from a potential landfall. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. But first, we have to get over to Majestic, who's had quite the traffic morning.
Very busy and really not in the best of ways. We still have a handful of ongoing wrecks. We'll start with a live camera look, though, coming in from I-77. If you're just waking up and joining us, good morning. Definitely a busy time of the day. Still, it is 8:38 coming in from York County. You can see some of our drive times, nearly an hour if you're coming in from Gastonia, just over an hour if you're coming in from Salisbury this morning. I do want to let you know about this ongoing wreck that is still not cleared. It's on I-77 South at Trade Street. That's exit 10, and then it's backed up about 3 miles. This is a live camera look right around that area. The camera is actually moving. This is just a still shot, but those southbound lanes on I-77, again, going to be moving rather slowly because of that ongoing crash. Unfortunately, we're also reporting on this. It's a fatal crash near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. Another patient was transported with serious injuries, so they're asking to just avoid this area right now as the investigation is still ongoing. Just to the south of that, want to let you know I-85 not looking too bad right here. We did have an earlier crash that is since cleared. Those are the most important things that I'm watching. We'll have another update coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Majestic. Well, coming up, Arena's Law is heading to the governor's desk.
What's inside that bill and how it could impact future criminal cases.
Well, this morning, a new crime bill is headed to Governor Josh Stein's desk. North Carolina lawmakers passed this bill in response to the deadly stabbing of Irina Zarutska. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards has a look at what's inside of this bill.
Lawmakers passed this bill in the House in an 82-30 vote. If Governor Josh Stein signs it into law, it would end cashless bail for most violent offenders and speed up the process for death penalty appeals. The bill was introduced in March but renamed Irina's Law after 23-year-old Irina Zarutska was killed last month on Charlotte's light rail. Her death sparked national attention and a debate over transit safety. The murder suspect, DeCarlos Brown, also had a lengthy criminal history in Mecklenburg County. Lawmakers say the measure is designed to restore confidence in the justice system, making sure violent offenders face stricter consequences. The bill also requires mental health evaluations in certain cases and orders a review of how Charlotte and Mecklenburg County spend money on crime prevention programs.
We're going to go through the entire budget for the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County to see where these funds are going, because ultimately we're dealing with a local government, really Mecklenburg County and city of Charlotte, two local governments that, in my opinion, have lost institutional control of their areas.
This was a Republican-penned bill, and backers say it's about preventing future tragedies. But some House Democrats pushed back, arguing the plan doesn't go far enough. They say it lacks funding for mental health services, crisis responders, and even extra police staffing, resources they believe could help stop crimes before they happen. The bill now heads to the governor's desk, and while a spokesperson says he's reviewing the bill, he hasn't said whether he'll sign it. In Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that. Coming up, Majestic has the latest on a deadly accident in North Charlotte.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a traffic alert for your Wednesday morning commute. We have a handful of accidents, but unfortunately, we're following a fatal crash this morning. It's right in this area. It's going to be north of Uptown near 485. It's near the intersection of Reams Road and Metromont Industrial Boulevard. You can see the area that's highlighted there. That is the area to avoid. They're asking to please not go in this area because investigations are ongoing. Another patient was also transported transported with serious injuries. This is ongoing and still a very active place as we are looking at that Wednesday morning commute. Otherwise, a little closer to uptown I-77, still following this ongoing accident. It's on I-77 impacting southbound lanes. The accident happened at 10th or exit 10. That's at Trade Street, and it's backed up about 3 miles right now. This is one of our cameras. This is a still shot. Traffic is actually moving. It's just getting jam-packed there. Again, that's at Trade Street, exit 10. Just to the south, we have this newer crash. It's right here on Old Concord Road at Orr Road. You can see the orange indicating just slow-moving traffic. Keep this in mind as you're heading out the door. Chris.
Thanks a lot, Majestic. All right, let's just get right to it. So in general, for our forecast, we are looking at a pair of tropical systems. That's right, the area of the blues right there, potentially are going to be within about 500 to 600 miles apart. Sometimes when strong low pressure systems get within 1,000 miles of each other, they can go through something called the Fujiwara effect. Well, where does that come from? Well, it comes from the Dr. Fujiwara from Japan that discovered in the early 1920s that when two monstrous low pressure systems originate themselves around the same central point, about 1,000 miles, they can find a central commonality and actually start to rotate around each other. Sometimes the bigger storm can cause the other one to weaken, or sometimes they're just going to be changing paths. The reason why I'm saying this is not just to teach you some sort of random weather stat. I'm letting you know that this very much could be our savior here in the Carolinas, because what you're seeing right here for that model comparison, bringing this up again, it's 7 p.m. on Monday. That is a system heading straight towards the Carolinas. So you'd be talking about a landfalling either tropical storm or hurricane come Monday into Tuesday. But what I'm about to show you is the Fujiwara effect in full effect. So check it out. These are the two systems. Now, they're going to be named Umberto and Imelda. We do know that over the next few days. Number one, this is going to be Umberto, and this one right here is likely going to be Imelda. We'll call them siblings here. Well, they're going to help each other out. They're going to work their way towards the general direction that actually, when I say 500 miles, they actually might come within about 300 miles of one another. You have two circles right next to one another. So we have the one Imelda that's going to try to work its way towards the Carolinas, but notice what happens. It gets pulled back. If you look really closely, you almost have this figure right here. Their wind fields are truly interacting with one another. So it looks like as Umberto is pulling back out to sea, it grabs its sister Imelda and tries to pull it away from the Carolinas. Now, this is just one scenario. There's a couple of other models that are just out to lunch that are confused and they don't know what they're doing. But this is the one that I think is the best chance of actually happening. Now, if they disconnect, say if Umberto slows down or it gets further away, we're not going to see this scenario. But as of right now, this could be our saving grace. Thank you, Dr. Fujiwara, for that potential effect. But there's also another thing that's helping us out as well. The cold front that's going to bring us our rain a little bit later on Thursday night, well, it's going to stall out on the coast. And this low is an upper level low. So that is going to put up the Heisman, blocking really any system from coming into the Carolinas. So that system that will be Imelda and that Umberto will continue to push out to sea. So fingers crossed this comes to fruition, a really unique piece of meteorology that could be a savior for the Carolinas. That's it for us here in Charlotte for right now. Let's head back to Ben over in the mountains.
All right, Chris, thanks. 8:50 right now. We continue to look at Western North Carolina nearly 1 year after Hurricane Helene hit. And one group in particular, Beloved Asheville, was really one of the biggest local rapid response teams on the ground immediately after the storm hit. They went from distributing supplies to actually building houses this year. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us how they recently hit a major milestone.
Every house on this street was completely underwater. You can see remnants of the flood left behind. This car hasn't moved. There are still thick layers of mud inside. All these months later, some of the people in this neighborhood didn't even make it out, but those who did, they are all rebuilding, coming back, and Beloved Asheville is helping make it happen.
There we go. This is going to be my back porch.
Daniel Wright can't wait to move his family back into the neighborhood they've loved for more than a decade.
Looking forward to being back in our own place.
The artist was born and raised in Asheville and never imagined he'd be running for his life from the very land that he loves.
We left in probably less than 2 minutes. You know, we left behind a camper, my art studio, our house, all of our belongings, and you know, I didn't even bring a phone charger. I threw my pair of socks in a bag and left, and by the time we got down to the middle of the road there, we were driving through 2-3 feet of water, and which was kind of a scary feeling, you know.
The water ultimately went over his roof.
We lost everything, you know. I came back to our cars floated down the street and basically had to tear down our whole house and start from scratch.
The majority of our time is focused in rebuilding houses.
Poncho Bermeo is the co-director of Beloved Asheville, a local nonprofit that spent the early days after Helene distributing supplies. They're now working feverishly to fix and rebuild homes across the area.
It's something very powerful for us, and for me personally, it's very healing.
So many lives and homes. So many of our neighbors that we lost, and so we carry that pain every day. But we carry a fire that comes from, you know, knowing one another and not, you know, we've said we're not going to stop until we make sure that all of our neighbors get to come home.
They just finished their 100th home.
Such an incredible milestone, and every time we give keys back to a family, there is nothing like that feeling of seeing that family come home, and it gives people hope. You know, that, you know, we're not going to quit, and, you know, they're next. And so we keep going to the next family and the next family. And that's really essential right now, is that hope.
And the work continues. This kind of rebuilding will take a long time. It's going on all across the region. It will take a lot of work and a lot of money. If you'd like to help, we've got all the information you need to reach Beloved Asheville. It's on our website, WCNC.com. Reporting in Swannanoa, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
And folks, a reminder, we'll be live here in Boone all week long, marking the 1-year anniversary. All of it coming together for a 1-hour special, celebrating the progress they've made here, but also calling attention to the work that needs to be done. You can watch our special Hurricane Helene 1 year later right here on WCNC Charlotte. Back to y'all in the studio.
All right, Ben, thanks so much for that. Again, it's great to see the work that has happened there, and then we know that there is still much more that needs to be done. Well, we are going to take a quick break. We'll make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic. Majestic still following that deadly crash that happened in North Charlotte in the North Lake area there on Reams Road. Chris will have an update on your forecast as well. He's talking about those two systems that are actually on the coast now, breaking down Umberto and Imelda. Is that right, Chris? He's going to have the latest on that and explain what we're looking at as we continue to track that, of course. So make sure you keep it right here with us on WCNC Plus. And of course, we'll have more throughout the day and throughout this week, our live reporting over in Western North Carolina as we look at the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. Right now, you can see our own, I believe that is Jane Monreal. She is in a live Impact News studio. Coming up, she's going to be speaking with someone talking about a topic that we've been hearing more about lately, and that is menopause. So Jane's going to take over at 9 o'clock. She'll have today's headlines and traffic across our area and the nation here. And again, speaking with an expert there, the subject of menopause. Thanks so much for staying with us here on WCNC Plus.
Who's ready for the sizzle? 59 degrees right now in Boone. We're already up to 73 degrees right here around the Charlotte area. That is much warmer than where we have been. So that dew point is also on the rise as well. So it's going to be a humid day. So 90 degrees expected by 5 p.m. We'll feel more like 93. Get ready for the highest heat index and the hottest temperature of the week and likely going forward. We are going weather alert though for your Thursday afternoon and Thursday night because we do anticipate a few thunderstorms to roll through. Also extra slick roads because those storms on and off rain with cooler temperatures through the weekend as 2 tropical systems approach the area. Majestic, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. We have multiple accidents this morning, so really take it easy as you're heading out the door. We have had reports on this all morning long. It's a fatal crash. Reams Road is completely blocked at this time. We have one of our photographers out there. They are getting detoured out on Industrial Boulevard. That's Metromont Industrial Boulevard, so just avoid that area at all costs. Also seeing this accident on I-77 South at exit 10. Have a great day and drive safe.